Title: The Perfect Alibi. Los Angeles, 11:45 p.m. Noah Carter always thought he was good at reading people. As a high-stakes defense attorney in Los Angeles, deception was part of his daily routine. He knew when a witness was lying. He knew when a prosecutor was bluffing. And he definitely knew when someone was hiding something. Or at least he thought he did. Because when he walked into his penthouse that night and found his wife, Emily, missing, he realized he had been blind to the biggest lie of all. On the kitchen counter, next to an unfinished glass of wine, was a single note. "Don't look for me. You won't like what you find." The words hit harder than they should have. Because deep down he already knew. Emily was having an affair. Plotline 1. The lie he never saw coming. It wasn't paranoia. It wasn't insecurity. It was evidence. Over the past few months, little things had stopped adding up. Emily's sudden late nights at work, the unanswered calls, the hushed conversations on the phone when she thought he wasn't listening. Then there were the credit card charges, hotels, restaurants, places they had never been together. And now she was gone. But something didn't feel right. If this was just an affair, why leave a note? Why vanish in the middle of the night, without taking her phone, her jewelry, or even her car? Noah clenched his jaw. Emily wasn't running away. She was running from something. Or worse, someone. Plotline 2. The missing pieces. By morning, Noah was already making calls. His first instinct was to track Emily's phone, but her number was disconnected. Not powered off, completely erased. Her social media, gone. Her email, wiped. Noah knew what this meant. Someone had planned this. His next call was to the only person he trusted, his best friend, Daniel Reeves, a former cop turned private investigator. "She didn't just leave," Noah said as soon as Daniel picked up. "She was erased." Daniel sighed on the other end. "I'm on my way." Plotline 3. The affair that wasn't. An hour later, Daniel stood in Noah's living room, flipping through bank statements, hotel bills, and security footage Noah had pulled from their apartment building. "All right," Daniel said, rubbing his jaw. "You were right about the affair. Emily was meeting someone. But you were wrong about who." Noah frowned. Daniel turned his laptop around. Security footage played on the screen. Emily, wearing sunglasses, a scarf pulled over her face, getting into a black SUV. Noah leaned closer. The driver wasn't a man. It was a woman. Tall, blonde, sharp features. Someone Noah had never seen before. Daniel tapped the screen. "That's Alexandra Pierce, federal agent." Asterisk. Noah's stomach twisted. "Your wife wasn't cheating, Noah." Daniel's voice was grim. "She was being investigated." Plotline 4. The trial that ruined everything. Suddenly, everything made sense. 5 months ago, Noah had won the biggest case of his career. A high-profile defense trial that had the entire country watching. His client, Elias Vance, was a billionaire accused of running an underground crime syndicate, money laundering, bribery, even murder. The prosecution had a solid case. The evidence was overwhelming. And yet, Noah won. He got Elias acquitted. And now his wife was gone. Noah's blood ran cold. "This isn't about an affair," he muttered. "Emily knew something. Something about the case." Daniel exhaled. "And she was working with the feds." Noah's pulse pounded. His own wife, the person he trusted the most, was building a case against him. Plotline 5. The other side of the story. Noah was still trying to process the betrayal when Daniel's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, then frowned. "You're not gonna like this." He turned the phone so Noah could see. A news alert. Breaking. Billionaire Elias Vance found dead in his mansion. Noah's breath caught. Daniel scrolled further. The details were vague, but one thing was clear. Elias Vance hadn't just been killed. He had been executed. A single bullet to the head. No signs of struggle. No forced entry. Professional. Clean. Noah's stomach turned. Emily had vanished the same night Elias was murdered. This wasn't a coincidence. Daniel looked up. "Noah, where was Emily last night?" Noah swallowed hard. I don't know. But he had a feeling he was about to find out. Plotline 6. The call that changed everything. As if on cue, Noah's phone rang. Unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. A woman's voice. You need to stop looking for her. Noah's heart pounded. Where is she? A pause. She's alive. For now. Noah's grip tightened on the phone. Who are you? Someone who just saved your life. Noah's blood turned to ice. They're coming for you next, Mr. Carter. You have 24 hours to disappear. The line went dead. The Perfect Alibi, Part 2. Los Angeles, 12:17 a.m. Noah stood in his darkened penthouse, gripping his phone so tightly his knuckles turned white. You have 24 hours to disappear. The words echoed in his mind, sharp and final. The woman on the other end of the line wasn't bluffing. Someone had just killed Elias Vance, and now they were coming for him. He turned to Daniel, who was already dialing a number. Who are you calling? Noah asked. Daniel didn't look up. A guy who specializes in making people disappear. Noah exhaled. I'm not running. Daniel gave him a long look. Then you're already dead. Plotline 7. The setup. Daniel's guy turned out to be a former intelligence operative named Wes Fallon. A man who, according to Daniel, had helped people vanish before they even knew they were in danger. 15 minutes later, they met Wes in the back of a 24-hour diner, the kind of place where no one asked questions. You need a new passport, new credit history, and a 2-day head start, Wes said, stirring his coffee like they were discussing the weather. Noah shook his head. I don't need to disappear. I need to know who's trying to kill me. Wes raised an eyebrow. Then you don't need me. You need a miracle. Noah leaned forward. Can you find out who called me? Wes exhaled through his nose. Maybe, if they were sloppy. He pulled out a laptop, fingers moving fast. Noah watched the screen, his heart pounding. Seconds passed. Then, what? Noah asked. Wes turned the laptop around. On the screen was a location trace. The phone call had come from a secure government line. Specifically, the Los Angeles FBI field office. Noah's pulse spiked. Emily had been working with the feds, and now the feds were warning him to run. Something was very, very wrong. Plotline 8. The body that was never found. This doesn't make sense, Daniel muttered. If they wanted to arrest you, they would have done it already. If they wanted to kill you, you'd already be dead. Unless they need me alive, Noah said. Wes rubbed his jaw. Or unless someone inside the bureau is playing both sides. The words hit hard. Noah had spent his career outsmarting the system, twisting the law to his advantage. But this wasn't a trial. This was a hunt. And he was the prey. Then Daniel's phone buzzed. A text. No sender. No name. Just 3 words. Elias Vance lives. Noah's breath caught. That's impossible. Daniel was already typing back. Where is he? A reply came instantly. Warehouse 17. Pier 39. Come alone. Noah met Daniel's eyes. If this is real. Daniel finished the sentence for him. Then everything we know is a lie. Plotline 9. The trap. By 2 a.m., Noah and Daniel were parked near Pier 39, watching the darkened warehouse from a distance. The air smelled like salt and oil. The docks were deserted. This feels like a setup, Daniel muttered. It is, Noah said. But they had no choice. If Elias Vance was alive, it meant his murder was staged. Which meant whoever did it wanted to frame someone else. And right now, Noah was suspect number 1. They moved in slow, weapons drawn. Inside, the warehouse was cavernous. Rows of shipping containers stacked like tombstones. And then, a sound. A soft shuffle behind a crate. Noah and Daniel exchanged a look. Then a voice. Took you long enough. A man stepped out of the shadows. Elias Vance. Alive. Plotline 10. The man who should be dead. Noah's grip tightened on his gun. You're supposed to be dead. Vance smirked. Funny thing about that. People only die when it's convenient. Daniel frowned. Who staged your murder? Vance exhaled. Someone powerful. Someone who wanted the world to believe I was gone. Noah narrowed his eyes. And why should we believe you? Vance tilted his head. Because I'm not your biggest problem, Carter. Then he turned toward the crates and knocked twice. A second later, the crate opened, and Emily stepped out, handcuffed, blindfolded, alive. Noah's heart stopped. Emily? Her head snapped toward his voice. Noah. Vance sighed. Like I said, I'm not your biggest problem. Plotline 11. The woman who knew too much. Noah moved fast, untying the blindfold. Emily's eyes widened as she looked at him, then at Vance. Noah, you have to listen to me. Vance cut her off. Not yet. Noah turned to him, anger rising. Start talking, Vance. Now. Vance shrugged. Your wife made a deal with the feds. They were going to use her to take you down. But then someone higher up flipped the script. Noah frowned. What do you mean? Emily swallowed hard. It wasn't just about you, Noah. It was about Elias. About his connections. Someone inside the FBI wanted him gone. So they framed you for his murder. Noah's blood ran cold. Who? Emily hesitated. Then, a gunshot rang out. Vance's body jerked forward. His eyes widened. Then he collapsed, a bullet hole between his eyes. Noah spun, gun raised, but the shooter was already gone. The only thing left was the faintest sound of footsteps fading into the night. Emily's voice was barely a whisper. Noah. We were never supposed to make it out of here. The Perfect Alibi, Part 3. Pier 39, 2:37 a.m. Elias Vance's body lay sprawled on the concrete floor, his eyes frozen in shock. Blood pooled beneath him, spreading toward the cracks in the warehouse floor like dark veins. Noah barely breathed. The silence stretched, thick and suffocating. Emily was still handcuffed, her breathing shaky, her wide eyes locked on the corpse of the man who was supposed to be dead. Daniel had his gun raised, scanning the shadows. But whoever pulled the trigger was already gone. Plotline 12. The Shadow War. We need to move, Daniel said, his voice low and sharp. Now. Noah didn't move. His mind was still processing. Elias was alive for a reason, he muttered. And someone just made sure he wasn't anymore. Emily swallowed hard. Noah, we need to talk. Alone. Noah turned to her, eyes unreadable. We're past that, Emily. Start talking now, or we leave you here. Emily exhaled, looking like she wanted to argue, but she didn't. Vance faked his death because he found out he was being set up. Noah frowned. By who? Emily hesitated. By the same person who's coming after you. A chill ran down Noah's spine. Vale is dead, he said slowly. Emily shook her head. It was never just Vale. There's someone else. Someone higher up. Daniel narrowed his eyes. How high? Emily's voice was barely a whisper. Government high. Plotline 13. The files that could kill them. Noah's jaw clenched. Are you saying this goes federal? Emily nodded. Not just federal. Deep. Black ops. Off-the-books assassinations. Entire cases that never make it to court. Daniel cursed under his breath. And you knew about this? Noah asked, his voice dangerously calm. Emily met his gaze. I didn't know everything, but I knew enough. Noah exhaled. And you still made a deal with them? Emily flinched but didn't look away. I thought I could control it. Like you thought you could control me? Noah shot back. Silence. Emily looked away. You don't get it, Noah. They're not after you because of Elias Vance. They're after you because you know too much. Because you won that case. And if they can't use you, they'll erase you. Daniel crossed his arms. So, what's the play? Emily took a breath. Vance had files. Proof that could bring them down. That's why they wanted him dead. And now, those files are our only leverage. Noah's eyes darkened. Where are they? Emily hesitated. Then, in a vault. Daniel frowned. What vault? Emily swallowed hard. At the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Plotline 14. The Impossible Heist. Noah let out a sharp laugh, one with no humor. You're kidding. Emily shook her head. Daniel ran a hand through his hair. We're not breaking into the goddamn Federal Reserve, Emily. We won't have to, she said. The files aren't in the bank. They're in a secure server vault beneath it. But we don't need to get inside. We just need access. Noah folded his arms. And how exactly do we pull that off? Emily took a slow breath. We blackmail the man who does have access. Noah narrowed his eyes. And who is that? Emily's lips parted. But before she could answer, the warehouse doors burst open. Flashlights, shouts, gunfire. Plotline 15. The escape. Go, go, go! Daniel barked. Bullets slammed into the metal crates as the three of them sprinted toward the side exit. Emily was still cuffed, slowing her down. Noah grabbed her wrist and yanked her forward. Daniel, cover us. Daniel dropped to one knee, firing 3 precise shots toward the approaching men. A grunt of pain echoed. Someone went down, but more were coming. Noah kicked open the emergency exit, dragging Emily through as Daniel followed, slamming the door behind them. Alarms blared. Floodlights roared to life, washing the pier in white light. They're blocking the street, Daniel shouted. Noah's mind raced. They needed an exit. His eyes flicked to the dock. A speedboat was tied up just ahead. That's our ride, Noah growled. Emily's eyes widened. Noah, you don't know how to drive a... Too late. Noah was already running. Plotline 16, the pursuit. They hit the water at full speed. The speedboat sliced through the waves, the city lights shrinking behind them. Bullets whizzed past. The men on the dock weren't giving up. Emily ducked low, her breath ragged. Daniel fired another shot, forcing the gunman to back off. But Noah was focused on the skyline ahead. New York was waiting, and so were the answers. We have to move fast, Emily said, her voice barely audible over the wind. If they know we're coming, we won't make it past tomorrow. Noah didn't look at her. Then we make sure they don't see us coming. Plotline 17. The name that changes everything. As the city loomed closer, Daniel turned to Emily. You never answered the question. Emily frowned. What? Who has access to the files? A hesitation. Then, a name. A name Noah never expected to hear. Senator William Langston. Daniel's expression darkened. Noah went still. Because Langston wasn't just a senator. He was the one who put Noah through law school. He was Noah's mentor. And now he was the man who might be trying to kill him. The Perfect Alibi, Part 4. Somewhere on the Hudson River, 3:12 a.m. The city skyline loomed closer, its lights shimmering in the dark water. Noah stood at the helm, gripping the wheel of the stolen speedboat, his jaw tight. His mentor, Senator William Langston, had just become the prime suspect in a conspiracy that had already killed one man, Elias Vance, and nearly erased Noah himself. Emily sat beside him, her wrists still raw from the handcuffs. She was silent, her mind clearly racing. Daniel sat at the back of the boat, reloading his gun. No one spoke, because right now they all knew the truth. They weren't just running. They were heading straight into the lion's den. Plotline 18. The call that changes everything. As soon as they reached land, Noah's phone rang. Unknown number. Noah hesitated, then answered. Mr. Carter, you've been very busy. A smooth, familiar voice. Senator Langston. Noah's grip tightened. You want to tell me why my wife was working for you? Langston chuckled. Come now, Noah. We both know I don't answer questions. I ask them. Then here's an answer, Noah snapped. I know about the files. I know Vance was alive. And I know someone wanted him dead. Again. Langston sighed, almost disappointed. You always were a bright one, but you're asking the wrong question. Noah exhaled. Then tell me, Senator, what's the right question? A pause. Then, why was Vance kept alive in the first place? Noah frowned. Langston continued. Vance was never a target, Noah. He was a pawn, a loose thread. The only reason he was allowed to live this long was because he still had value. But when that value ran out, well, Noah's stomach turned. So who wanted him dead? Langston's voice turned cold. You already know the answer. Noah exchanged a glance with Emily. It was you. Another pause. Then Langston laughed. If I wanted Elias dead, he wouldn't have lasted this long. Something about the way he said it sent a chill through Noah's spine. Langston's voice dropped to a whisper. You need to wake up, Noah. You think you're playing a game, but you're not. You're a piece on someone else's board. And right now, you're a very, very valuable piece. Noah's jaw clenched. Why? Langston exhaled. Because you still have something they want. Noah's heart pounded. And what's that? The senator's voice turned deadly. Leverage. Plotline 19. The hidden enemy. The line went dead. Emily took a slow breath. Noah. What if he's telling the truth? Daniel scoffed. You really want to trust a politician? Emily shook her head. No, but think about it. If Langston didn't order Vance's death, then who did? Noah's mind raced. Emily was right. Someone else was pulling the strings. And if Langston was warning him, that meant whoever was in charge wasn't just dangerous. They were untouchable. So what now? Daniel asked. Noah exhaled. We find the leverage. Emily frowned. You mean the files? Noah shook his head. No. Vance left something else behind. Something worth more than money. Daniel narrowed his eyes. And what's that? Noah met his gaze. His daughter. Plotline 20. The missing link. Elias Vance had a daughter. Sophia Vance. 26 years old. No criminal record. Kept out of the media. And, according to Noah's research, she vanished 3 months ago. The timeline matched perfectly with when Elias first faked his death. Emily's eyes widened. You think she's alive? Noah nodded. And if she is, she's the only person left who knows what really happened. Daniel's expression darkened. So where do we find her? Noah exhaled. We don't. Emily frowned. What do you mean? Noah pulled out his phone, opening his secured files. He turned the screen toward them. A photo of Sophia, taken yesterday, in New York. She just found us. Plotline 21. The ambush. 30 minutes later, they sat in a dimly lit bar in Manhattan, waiting. Noah drummed his fingers against the table. Emily kept scanning the room, nervous. Daniel was drinking whiskey, his other hand resting on his gun under the table. Then, a figure appeared at the entrance. Sophia Vance. She was younger than Noah expected. Early 20s. Not mid-long dark hair. Sharp eyes. A confidence that didn't match the fear in her stance. She hesitated before stepping forward. Noah stood up. Sophia. She barely nodded. Then, gunshots. The window shattered as bullets sprayed through the bar. Noah grabbed Sophia, pulling her down behind the table. Emily ducked. Daniel fired back. More shots. More screams. Then, silence. The attackers were gone. Sophia's breath was ragged. She looked at Noah, panicked. They found me. Noah's pulse pounded. Who? Sophia swallowed hard. Then she whispered the name. A name Noah never expected. A name that changed everything. FBI Director Samuel Price. Noah froze. Because Samuel Price wasn't just the FBI director. He was the man who had given Noah his first big case. He was the man who told Noah he could trust the system. And now, he was the man trying to kill them all. The Perfect Alibi, Part 5. New York City, 3:42 a.m. The aftermath of the ambush. The bar was wrecked. Shattered glass, overturned chairs, and the lingering scent of gunpowder in the air. Noah's hands were still clenched into fists as he stared at Sophia Vance. Say it again. Sophia swallowed hard. Her hands were shaking, her breath unsteady. FBI Director Samuel Price is the one behind all of this. Noah exhaled slowly. Price, a man he had once trusted. A man who had helped shape his career. And now he was hunting him. Daniel sat back, rubbing his jaw. This just keeps getting better. Emily remained silent, her expression unreadable. Sophia's voice wavered. I didn't know who to trust. I didn't even know if my father was dead or alive. But when I started looking for answers, that's when Price's men came after me. Noah's jaw clenched. What do you know, Sophia? She hesitated. Then, I know why they killed my father. Plotline 22. The deal that went wrong. Sophia exhaled. Elias wasn't just running a crime syndicate. He was working with the government. Noah frowned. That makes no sense. The feds were after him for years. Sophia shook her head. That's what they wanted everyone to believe. But the truth? My father wasn't their target. He was their business partner. Silence. Daniel let out a sharp breath. You're telling me Vance was working with the FBI? Sophia nodded. Not just working with them. Funding them. Emily's brow furrowed. Funding what? Sophia's voice dropped. Black Ops. Off-the-books operations. They used his money to finance missions that never made it to the public record. Assassinations. Coups. Weapons deals. Everything the U.S. government couldn't be seen touching. Noah felt a slow, cold burn creep up his spine. And then, Sophia's jaw tightened. And then he got greedy. Plotline 23. The truth that got him killed. My father started keeping records, Sophia continued. Every deal, every wire transfer, every name. He thought that if the government ever turned on him, he'd have leverage. Noah exhaled sharply. That's what's in the files, isn't it? Sophia nodded. Yes, the files contain everything. Names of agents, politicians, private military contractors, everyone involved. If those records go public, it would bring down more than just price. It would shake the entire system. Daniel let out a low whistle. That explains why they faked his death. They needed time to find the files before anyone else did. Emily rubbed her temples. And when they couldn't find them, they decided to tie up loose ends. She looked at Sophia. They came after you because they thought you knew where the files were. Sophia nodded. And they're coming after Noah because they think he's next in line to find them. Plotline 24. The clock is ticking. Noah leaned back against the wall, his mind racing. If what Sophia said was true, then Samuel Price wasn't just hunting them. He was protecting a secret that could topple the entire system. And now, they had less than 24 hours before Price realized Sophia was still alive. Noah exhaled sharply. Where are the files, Sophia? She hesitated. Then, I don't know. Noah's patience snapped. What do you mean you don't know? Your father died protecting them. Sophia looked frustrated. I know, but he didn't tell me where he hid them. He only gave me one clue. Daniel folded his arms. Which is? Sophia took a slow breath. The key is in the place I left behind. Silence. Noah's mind raced. The place he left behind? Sophia nodded. It has to be a reference to something in his past. Noah's stomach tightened, because there was only one place Elias Vance had left behind. And it wasn't in New York. It was in Washington, D.C. Plotline 25. The road to D.C. Daniel sighed. Let me guess. We're going to D.C. Noah exhaled. We don't have a choice. Emily bit her lip. You realize this is suicide, right? If Price finds out we're going after the files, he'll kill us before we get close. Noah finished. Sophia shook her head. Not if we make him think we already have them. Daniel frowned. What are you suggesting? Sophia's expression hardened. We don't just go after the files. We use them. Noah narrowed his eyes. How? Sophia leaned in. We make it look like we're about to leak them. We set a trap. We force Price to come to us. Noah considered it. Dangerous. Reckless. But also, the only shot they had. He looked at Daniel. Can you make it happen? Daniel smirked. I can fake a leak that'll have Price sending kill teams by sunrise. Noah turned to Emily. Are you in? She hesitated, then nodded. If we do this, we end it. Sophia exhaled. Then let's end it. Plotline 26. The final countdown. They had 12 hours. 12 hours before Price realized what they were doing. 12 hours before every corrupt agent in the country came hunting for them. As they packed up, Noah glanced out the window at the city skyline. This wasn't about survival anymore. It was about justice. For Elias Vance. For Sophia. For everyone who had been erased to protect the system. His grip tightened on his gun. Samuel Price thought he could control everything. But he was about to learn the hard way. Noah Carter wasn't just another loose end. He was the man who was going to burn it all down. The Perfect Alibi, Part 6. Washington, D.C., 11:14 a.m. The capital was a different kind of beast. New York had been dangerous. Chicago had been a battlefield. But D.C.? D.C. was the epicenter of power, where corruption didn't just survive, it thrived. And Noah was about to walk straight into its heart. The plan was simple. Step 1. Make Samuel Price think they already had the files. Step 2. Force him out of the shadows. Step 3. Expose him before he can kill them. But the problem with simple plans? They never stayed that way. Plotline 27. The leak that never was. Daniel's fake file leak hit the internet at exactly 11:30 a.m. A fabricated news story. A whistleblower report claiming that sensitive intelligence files had been intercepted and were set to be released within 24 hours. The moment it went live, the internet exploded. News agencies started digging. Government officials scrambled. And within minutes, Samuel Price called Noah. Plotline 28. The devil on the line. Noah stared at his phone screen. Unknown number. But he already knew who it was. Emily and Sophia exchanged a glance. Daniel nodded. Answer it. Noah took a breath. Then he picked up. Mr. Carter. Price's voice was smooth, almost amused. I was wondering when we'd talk. Noah leaned against the window of their rented hotel suite, staring at the Capitol building in the distance. That makes one of us. Price chuckled. Impressive stunt you pulled. But let's not waste time. You and I both know those files aren't real. Noah smirked. Then why are you calling? Pause. Because I know what you're really after. And I'm here to offer you a way out. Noah's grip tightened on the phone. You mean a way to disappear? No, Noah, Price said. A way to live. Plotline 29. The offer he should refuse. You have something I want, Price continued. And I have something you need. Noah exhaled. I'm listening. The real files, Price said. The ones Elias Vance actually left behind. Silence. Noah stilled. Emily's eyes widened. Sophia tensed. You're bluffing, Noah said. Am I? Price's tone was almost amused. You're chasing a ghost, Carter. Vance hid those files, but he didn't trust his daughter enough to tell her where. He trusted someone else. Noah frowned. Who? Price's voice turned cold. You. Noah's breath caught. What the hell are you talking about? Vance knew this day would come, Price said. So he left them in the one place no one would think to look. Right under your nose. Emily leaned in. Noah, hang up. I'll make this easy for you, Carter, Price continued. Meet me in 1 hour. Alone. No backup. No tricks. And I'll tell you exactly where they are. And if I don't? Noah asked. Price sighed. Then everyone you care about dies. Plotline 30. The decision. The line went dead. Sophia's face was pale. You're not actually going to meet him, are you? Noah didn't answer. Daniel stepped forward. This is a trap. Of course it's a trap, Noah said. But we don't have a choice. Emily shook her head. Noah, if you go alone, you won't come back. Then we don't let him set the terms, Daniel said. We make our own play. Noah exhaled. We need eyes on that meeting spot before I ever step foot in it. Daniel nodded. Already on it. Sophia still looked uneasy. And what if Price is telling the truth? She asked quietly. Noah turned to her. Then we find the files before he does. And they burn his entire empire to the ground. Plotline 31. The meeting. 1 hour later, Noah stood alone in an underground parking garage. Waiting. His heart pounded. His fingers twitched near his gun. A black SUV pulled up. Samuel Price stepped out. Tall. Polished. Dangerous. Noah, he said, smiling. Glad you came. Noah didn't return the smile. Cut the bullshit. Where are the files? Price smirked. Straight to business. I respect that. He reached into his coat, slowly, then pulled out a USB drive. This is the key, Price said. But it's useless without the access code. Noah's jaw clenched. And I'm supposed to believe you'll just give it to me? Price chuckled. No, Noah. I expect you to trade for it. Plotline 32. The trade. Noah knew there was a catch. What do you want? He asked. Price's smirk faded. Your silence. Noah's stomach twisted. You want me to walk away? Price nodded. Take the drive. Take the money, I'll wire you. And disappear. Noah exhaled sharply. And what about Emily? About Sophia? Price's eyes darkened. That depends on you. Noah clenched his fists. He could end this right now. Take the deal. Walk away. Live. But then, his phone buzzed. A message from Daniel. The files are in a safe house. Not on the USB. Price is lying. Get out. Now. Noah's blood ran cold. Price was trying to buy time. Which meant, a gunshot ripped through the silence. Noah ducked just in time. Price's men emerged from the shadows. And suddenly, the meeting turned into an execution. Plotline 33. The escape. Noah fired first. 2 shots. One man dropped. Another one fired back. Noah rolled behind a car, his mind racing. He was outnumbered. Then, gunfire from above. Daniel, Emily, Sophia. They were already in position. And just like that, the trap snapped shut. Price's men collapsed. Noah moved fast, grabbing the USB before Price could react. The senator turned to run. But Noah was faster. He slammed Price against a pillar, gun to his throat. Where's the real safe house? Noah growled. Price smirked, even as blood trickled from his lip. You're too late, Noah. A chill ran through Noah's spine. What do you mean? Price's smirk widened. They already have it. Noah's breath hitched. Who? Price's eyes gleamed. The people who were really pulling the strings. The Perfect Alibi, Part 7. Washington, D.C., 2:07 a.m. The aftermath of the ambush. Samuel Price grinned through the blood on his lips. You're too late, Noah. Noah tightened his grip on Price's collar, slamming him back against the concrete pillar. His gun was still pressed against the FBI director's throat. Who has the files? Noah demanded. Price chuckled. You still don't get it, do you? A slow realization crept through Noah's mind. Price wasn't scared, because he wasn't the one in charge. Plotline 34. The hidden hand. Daniel, Emily, and Sophia moved in, weapons raised. Noah, we need to go, Daniel warned. Price just laughed, shaking his head. Running won't save you. Noah gritted his teeth. Who has the real files? Price exhaled, watching Noah carefully. You think I was the one calling the shots? He said, his voice calm. You think this was about me? About Vance? You're chasing ghosts, Carter. Noah felt the truth settle in. This wasn't just about Vance's files. There was something bigger. Something none of them had seen coming. Plotline 35. The real enemy. Who's behind this? Noah asked, his voice low and dangerous. Price gave a bloody smile. The people who don't exist. Emily stepped forward. Enough riddles, Price. Who? Price's gaze shifted to Sophia. You already know the answer, he said. Your father did. Sophia froze. What? Price sighed, shaking his head. Elias Vance wasn't just a crime lord. He wasn't just an informant. He was something much worse. Noah's pulse pounded. What are you talking about? Price grinned. He was a member. Plotline 36. The syndicate. The words hung in the air. A slow, chilling realization sank in. Sophia's voice shook. A member of what? Price exhaled. The syndicate. Silence. Daniel frowned. That sounds made up. Price chuckled. You wish. He glanced at Noah. You thought Vance was powerful? He was nothing compared to them. He wasn't an enemy of the system, Carter. He was the system. Noah's stomach turned. You're lying. Am I? Price smirked. You still think you're the good guy in this story? That you're bringing justice? You were always just a pawn, Noah. A disposable piece. He looked at Sophia again. Just like your father was. Sophia's hands curled into fists. Shut up, she whispered. Price just kept smiling. You think they killed Elias because he was dangerous? He continued. No, they killed him because he got greedy. Because he thought he could leverage power against people who don't play by the rules. He tilted his head. Sound familiar, Carter? Noah felt the weight of the words. Because Price was right. The real enemy wasn't one man. It was an entire hidden empire. And now, he knew Noah's name. Plotline 37. The decision. Noah glanced at Daniel. Daniel gave a small nod. They had what they needed. Let's go, Noah muttered. Price chuckled again. You can't run from them. Noah stepped closer, lowering his voice. I'm not running. He slammed the butt of his gun into Price's skull. The FBI director collapsed. Noah turned to Emily, Daniel, and Sophia. We end this. Emily frowned. How? Noah exhaled. We find the real files. Sophia hesitated. And then what? Noah's jaw tightened. Then we burn them all. Plotline 38, the safe house. By 4:30 a.m., they were deep inside Virginia's countryside, parked outside an old, abandoned estate. Sophia shivered. This was my father's first house. He never came back here after we moved to D.C. Noah nodded. Which means it's the perfect place to hide something. Daniel scanned the perimeter. No signs of movement. But if Price was telling the truth, we don't have much time before they figure out we're here. Emily turned to Noah. Do you really think we can take them down? Noah didn't answer right away, because he didn't know. All he knew was that they had come too far to stop now. And if the syndicate was real, then exposing them wasn't just about justice. It was about survival. Plotline 39. The final clue. They moved fast, sweeping through the house. Nothing. Then, wait, Sophia said. She stepped toward the fireplace, running her hand along the wooden mantel. She pressed something. A soft click. The bookshelf swung open, revealing a hidden vault. Noah and Daniel exchanged a look. This is it, Daniel muttered. Noah's heart pounded. Sophia hesitated. Then she entered the passcode. The vault door unlocked. Inside, a single hard drive, and one handwritten note. Sophia picked it up, her hands trembling. She read it aloud. If you're reading this, then I'm already dead. And if you want to survive, you have to finish what I couldn't. Silence. Then, a gunshot. The window shattered. Daniel yanked Sophia down. Noah spun and froze. Because standing in the doorway, gun raised, was a man Noah recognized instantly. Not Price, not an FBI agent, not even a politician, but someone he had trusted, someone who was supposed to be dead. Elias Vance. The Perfect Alibi, final part. Virginia countryside, 4:45 a.m. The ghost who wasn't dead. Noah's breath hitched. Elias Vance stood in the doorway, alive, gun raised. Expression unreadable. For a man who was supposed to be dead twice over, he looked unshaken. Elias, Sophia whispered, her voice raw. You're alive. Vance tilted his head, looking at her like a puzzle he had already solved. I never died, sweetheart. Noah's grip tightened on his gun. Then who the hell did we bury? Vance's lips curled into a smirk. A body double, * one of Price's men. I had to disappear, make the whole world believe I was gone. And guess what, Carter? *. His smirk faded. It almost worked. Plotline 40. The final truth. You set this up, Noah muttered, realization sinking in. Vance shrugged. Not all of it, but enough. Sophia shook her head. Why? You let me think you were dead. Vance's eyes softened for a moment, then hardened. It was the only way to protect you, kid. Noah's patience snapped. Protect her? You faked your death, left her to run for her life, and let Price hunt us down. Vance exhaled. Price was never the real problem, Carter. The syndicate was. And now, you're standing in the middle of their crosshairs. Noah narrowed his eyes. Then why show up now? Vance's fingers flexed on the gun. Because you finally found the real files. Plotline 41, the last betrayal. Noah took a step forward. You want the files? Tell me why you faked all of this. Tell me what you were really doing with the FBI. Vance sighed, lowering his weapon just slightly. I was never working for them, Carter. I was working for both sides. The Bureau needed dirty money to fund their black ops. The syndicate needed federal protection. I was the middleman. Daniel let out a low whistle. Jesus, you played everyone. Vance chuckled. Yeah, until they decided I wasn't useful anymore. Sophia's voice shook. And you still lied to me? Vance exhaled slowly. I didn't have a choice. Sophia's hands curled into fists. Neither do I. She grabbed the gun from Daniel's holster and fired. A single shot. Elias staggered back. His eyes widened. Blood bloomed across his chest. He collapsed against the vault, his breath ragged. Jesus Christ! Daniel shouted, grabbing the gun from Sophia before she could shoot again. Vance laughed. Actually laughed. Through the blood. At a girl, he rasped. Knew you had it in you. Noah stared at Sophia. You didn't hesitate. Her eyes were steely. He wasn't my father anymore. Plotline 42. The final choice. Vance coughed, blood dripping from his lips. It's not over, he wheezed. Noah crouched beside him. Then tell me how to end it. Vance's hand weakly reached for the hard drive. The files, they don't just expose the syndicate. They destroy them. It's their entire operation. Every transaction, every blackmail deal, every assassination order. You release this. His bloody fingers curled into a fist. You burn the whole system down. Noah and Sophia exchanged a look. Emily swallowed hard. If we leak these files, it won't just be the syndicate that falls. It'll be politicians, CEOs, military leaders. The country will never recover. Vance chuckled weakly. Then the question is, do you want revenge? Noah's jaw clenched. This was it. The choice. Burn the system, or let the syndicate live. Plotline 43. The firestorm. Noah took the hard drive, stared at it. Then, he smashed it. The plastic and circuits shattered against the floor. Sophia gasped. What the hell are you doing? Noah turned to her. Ending it. Daniel's eyebrows raised. I did not see that coming. Emily swallowed. You don't think we should expose them? Noah shook his head. If we release this, they don't lose. They just get replaced by someone worse. This fight never ends. But if they think the files are destroyed, he met Sophia's gaze. Then they have no reason to come after us anymore. Vance chuckled weakly. Smart move. His body slumped. His breath slowed. And Elias Vance, the man who played both sides, finally died. For real this time. Plotline 44. The aftermath. By morning, they were gone. The house, the files, the syndicate's last leverage over them, destroyed. Noah, Emily, Daniel, and Sophia sat in a safe house, watching the news. Samuel Price was found dead in his hotel room. Cause of death? Suicide. The official story? Former FBI Director Samuel Price implicated in money laundering scandal. Dies hours after resignation. The syndicate had cleaned house. Noah exhaled. It's over. Sophia stared at the TV, still processing. Is it? Noah looked at her. For us? It is. Daniel smirked. What now? Noah exhaled. Now? We disappear. Emily nodded. And if the syndicate ever comes back? Noah smirked. Then they better pray they stay in the shadows. Because if they ever came back, he'd be waiting. Epilogue. The call from the unknown. Months later, a quiet town on the coast. Noah sat in a coffee shop watching the waves. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. Silence. Then, you made the right choice, Carter. Noah's stomach dropped. The voice was calm, controlled, dangerous. Enjoy your peace. But remember, we're always watching. The line went dead. Noah put the phone down, looked out at the ocean. And for the first time in a long time, he smiled, because he had just won a game no one was supposed to win. And as long as the syndicate stayed buried, he was going to enjoy every second of his freedom. The end.